My name is Emily, I'm 27, and I am about to tell you the most insane breakup story that completely flipped my life upside down, and honestly, it might make you rethink everything you thought you knew about relationships. Before we dive into this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into it. We met during our freshman year of college and grew up together in every sense of the word. We shared our first apartment, split expenses 50-50, and built what I thought was a solid, respectful partnership. I genuinely believed we were in it for the long haul, but I guess I missed all the signs that Daniel had been quietly looking for a way out as I started to embrace my independence more fully. I was with Daniel for 5 years. Daniel is one of those people who has to resolve every issue immediately. Like if we don't analyze a problem to death in the moment, it'll explode. I told him I'd reach out when I was ready to talk. I needed peace. The first week, he blew up my phone with dozens of messages. By the second week, his desperation turned into guilt-tripping and emotional manipulation. I stayed calm and distant whenever we crossed paths in our apartment. I was polite, but firm. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. I wasn't punishing him or playing games. I just needed clarity, alone. But Daniel saw that as abandonment. She didn't play mind games. Mind games. Setting boundaries and asking for space is not a mind game, it's maturity. I asked how long this had been going on, and he admitted they'd gotten close over the last few weeks. I started posting photos of me going out, looking amazing, spending time with Chris. I wanted him to see what he'd lost. Chris was kind, supportive, but I couldn't stop thinking about Daniel and Natalie. So while I was giving him space to reflect, he was busy replacing me. Natural, like they'd always belonged together. Daniel didn't even flinch when our eyes met. I was invisible to him. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just a rebound. I was devastated. I tried congratulating him. People said I was harassing him. I lost my job because coworkers said I was hostile. I ended up moving back in with my parents, drowning in debt and shame. He'd found someone new and completely erased me from his life. Went out, laughed with my friends, even met a guy named Chris at a coffee shop who reminded me what it was like to have a simple, pressure-free conversation. Suddenly, I wasn't Emily, the driven, confident woman. I was that crazy ex. I showed up at his work, hoping we could talk. Everyone sees Daniel and Natalie's perfect life and wonders why I can't just move on. But when someone throws away 5 years because they can't handle 1 month of silence, the wound doesn't heal overnight. I asked for time to process and was replaced in a heartbeat. I lost my relationship, my job, my friends, and my dignity. But I kept my truth. See what I really offered: growth, strength, real love. But until then, I'll keep fighting for myself, for my truth, and for the version of love that doesn't punish a woman for being whole on her own. He refused to meet. I wrote him a letter, poured my heart into it, and left it on his car with his favorite cookies. He never acknowledged it. I started spiraling, checking his social media obsessively. He was posting pictures at our old spots coffee shops, trails, but with it felt cruel, like he was trying to erase our history. I wasn't cheating. I was rediscovering who I was outside the constant stress of managing Daniel's emotions. But not everything needs to be dissected right away. Sometimes people just need space to breathe. She was painfully wholesome volunteer work, hiking photos, family dog selfies, apologized, said I missed what we had. I tried dating other people, but no one wanted a strong, independent woman. They wanted simple, submissive, easy. He responded, short and cold. He'd moved on. He was happy, and I should respect that. That word respect cut deeper than anything. Nothing like me. She seemed basic and exactly the kind of woman who wouldn't push Daniel to grow. Our mutual friends said he seemed different with her, happier, more confident. That was insulting, like I hadn't spent years building him up. And that's exactly what I asked, for space and time to think. But what I got was a knife to the heart. He responded, I've moved on. I'm seeing someone else now. Her name's Natalie. Typical stuff women in their 20s do to unwind and connect. He told me that to him. The relationship ended the moment I stopped talking to him. I was stunned. I told him I needed space, not a breakup. But he twisted it into me ghosting him. Meanwhile, Daniel worked this exhausting corporate job that drained him daily. When he came home, he just wanted to crash and talk endlessly about our relationship. I, on the other hand, wanted to live my life and not spend every evening dissecting our dynamics. A small part of me felt proud, like he was finally respecting my boundaries, but another part of me was annoyed. If he really loved me, shouldn't he fight harder? The beginning of the end started innocently enough. I began going out more with my friends, happy hours, brunches, Saturday night dinners. That's when the shift began. He started interrogating me the second I walked in. Who was there? Why hadn't I texted him updates? What did we talk about? I told him he was being paranoid and jealous, and that I was allowed to have a life outside our relationship. Daniel started acting weird and invasive, peppering me with questions about where I was going, who I'd be with, when I'd be home. He began sneaking peeks at my texts, subtly monitoring my plans. It felt suffocating, like I was suddenly a teenager needing permission to go out. I told him that I was tired of catering to his insecurities, and that his jealousy had become unattractive. I might have said some other things, like how boring he'd become, how he never did anything spontaneous anymore, that he was turning into this anxious, clingy version of himself that I didn't recognize. One night, I came home, a little after midnight, from a girls' night, and there he was sitting in the dark, clearly waiting for me. But he wouldn't let it go. He said I seemed distant, like something had changed. I snapped. The conversation spiraled fast. He panicked, completely unraveled. He started firing questions at me. What does that mean? How long? Are we breaking up? For the next month, I didn't answer his calls or texts. I reconnected with myself. Meanwhile, Daniel pulled back. He started working longer hours, isolating himself. I thought maybe he was finally reflecting. Around week 3, his texts became infrequent. After a month, I finally reached out. I sent a simple message. Hey, I think we should talk. I expected relief, maybe hope. Just like that. 5 years gone. Then he dropped the bomb. Natalie had been there for him during the hard time. She listened. After that call, I panicked. So, I fought fire with fire. I looked her up. Eventually, I texted Daniel again. Months passed. I saw them together once at a cafe. They looked perfect. Things with Chris fell apart. He said I was still hung up on my ex, and maybe I was. Then came the engagement news. Daniel and Natalie engaged after barely a year. Everyone cheered like it was a fairy tale. I hit rock bottom. Daniel even filed for a restraining order over some Facebook comments I made about his character. The legal battle tanked my job prospects even more. And yet, through all of this, I still believe I wasn't the villain. I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. Now I'm 29, rebuilding from scratch. Maybe someday people will see it, see what he walked away from.